Be still, young man. You took a very bad blow yesterday evening.
De Vilta? But how? What?
You are surely asking yourself what you are doing in my house, but the answer is simpler than you might think. Yesterday, just before evening fell, I received a phone call from an unknown caller. He was a young bartender, Olivaci?
Olivero?
Yeah, him. Anyway, he spilled everything you were doing, including the story of the counterfeit form to me.
That Judas! Or maybe I should say those Judases. Well, I didn't know about the form. I'd carelessly revealed that to Tekla.
I then went to the appointment at the Rocket in his place, determined to expose you.
So, you saw the doctor?
I saw a madman dressed as a crow, and I thought it was better to hide and try to understand what was happening.
Okay, but why didn't you call the police?
To report an assault by a guy with paranormal powers? I thought it would be appropriate to rescue you, to ask what was happening directly. I suppose I was also overwhelmed by curiosity.
You made the right decision. Those people don't fool around.
What kind of mess did you get yourself involved in, young man? And what does this all have to do with my castle?
I can't get into details, but you need to believe me. I'm doing all this just to save a child that was kidnapped in America.
That's absurd, to say the least. On the other hand, what I saw tonight is absurd as well. I'll accept your version and will let you walk around inside Castle Sancti Leonis. I just beg you to follow Beringler's directions. That man scares me.
Only then did Alice and the threat of the doctor occur to me. I found 2 messages. The first dated back to the night before, roughly during my fight against the doctor. Alice had found a Polish document that referred to Count Cagliostro. She had even written the entire text through SMS and sent it to me. The second message calmed me down for good. It was from the wee hours of the morning and informed me she was hitting the road to reach me in San Leo. No mention of the doctor. Evidently, Alice proceeded ahead of time without even realizing the danger she averted. Now I have to go, but I could still use some help.
Leave the door open when you go, and come back whenever you want.
So, Oliviero had decided to play hardball. I'll give him a taste of his own medicine. You...
Wait, let me explain.
I don't know who you think you're dealing with, but now I'm really pissed off.
Whoa, what are you planning to do?
Shut up and follow me, and no sudden movements. A shot might go off.
What is this charade?
This is a crazy killer. He wants to shoot me.
I really want to see this. Come on, shoot!
Bang!
But, what? I can't believe I fell for that. Did you know?
You can see the shape of the finger from miles away, dope.
You two nearly compromised my investigation, and now I want to know why.
We can't trust anyone. Don't you get it?
Are you going to listen to me, chump? I said, and I'll repeat it, my sources confirmed his version. He really is a former detective from Miami. We've been stuck on this search for months now. I say let's try.
All right, then. Let's follow your instinct.
How about you start from the beginning and tell me what's going on here, backward and forward.
A while back, we went into the forest on an excursion. It was a perfect night for an excursion, thanks to the full moon illuminating the path. Everything was going perfectly, when suddenly we stumbled onto something unusual. The tracks of an animal that, judging by the print, had to be huge. Tekla claimed she had never seen anything like that.
And what did you do?
Tech decided to follow the tracks, but I didn't feel like going with her. I mean, a huge beast with the full moon? I told her I would manage alone, and I let her go. After 5 minutes, I was already lost, cold and frightened.
You're the antithesis of an adventurer.
Then, out of nowhere, I came across something unexpected. Something that has tormented me ever since. It was an old casket, hidden inside a hollow shaft.
And did you open it?
Sure, what the heck? Nothing remotely interesting ever happens to me. It contains some ancient dossiers. I took a quick look, but they disintegrated in my hands in just a few seconds. The only thing left intact is a strange piece of scroll that we've been trying to decipher ever since.
There's something that doesn't fit. How did those documents end up in San Leo if the Count had been dragged there by force?
Maybe they weren't left by the Count himself, but by the Polish soldiers who moved his corpse in 1795.
Polish soldiers. Just like in the document Alice found. Look here, Tekla.
Yes. It's not exactly modern Polish, but it's understandable. It seems like the testimony of one of the soldiers. Apparently, they uncovered the Count's corpse buried in the bare ground, with his head resting on a rock and a towel covering his face. In this passage, Cagliostro is called Master of the Rose. Again, with these damned flowers.
The Rose. It's not the first time I've heard about it, and I suspect it won't be the last.
With his body, they found some relics, which they hid, then transcribed the directions to locate them on a scroll, which they divided into 3 parts. The first was entrusted to the local priest, Father Alfredo, who swore to hide it in the safest possible place, protected by the wings of the eagle.
A sort of riddle or puzzle. I'm getting used to it.
The second group of soldiers, however, was confronted by a contingent of knights in the pay of the De Vilta family and exterminated. The last piece was closed in a trunk and buried near an easily recognizable centenarian tree.
This must be the one we found. We already have the first piece.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure of that.
What do you mean?
Yesterday morning, I went for a helicopter ride to fly over the woods looking for the beast.
When we saw you passing by.
Right. My bag could have accidentally fallen down in that area.
What?
Easy, Blondie. I was planning to go retrieve it today, but I'm waiting for the maintenance guy to bring me back my rifle. I don't want to walk around without a weapon with that monster nearby.
Fine, but we can't afford to wait. I'll go recover the bag.
Do as you wish. But take that pickaxe. You'll need it. And make no mistake, I'm not giving it to you because I feel guilty. Not at all.
I didn't know yet at the time, but I should have turned over every stone in San Leo to dredge up those 3 scroll pieces. Hey! Hey man, I'm talking to you! Ah! Stop waving that knife!
Sorry, dude. Oh, you almost gave me a stroke.
It was a really close call.
What are you doing here? Pleasure trip?
I'd say I'm working. And you?
Yes, me too. Wait a minute, damn! In the rush of the moment, I carved too deeply into the cortex. What a disaster.
What are you doing to that poor tree?
I'm analyzing it, dude. I'm Matthias, world-renowned resinologist.
Resinologist?
I don't think that word exists, but saying biologist specializing in amber is too long and makes other people uncomfortable.
What are you listening to?
Oh, it's the hit of the hour. It's great.
Catchy.
I've been listening to it on repeat for days.
See you, Matthias.
Take it easy, dude.
And there it was. Tekla's bag. A cliff away from me. I could have reached the other side of the bridge by taking a long detour, but the path was so long that it was barely visible. Although it didn't appear particularly inviting, that bridge was still standing after who knows how many decades. Surely it would hold for another couple of minutes. The little tree was clearly dead, and I could see a crack crossing it transversely. I couldn't resist. That was close. But now I had to find an alternate way to reach that bag. Going all the way around was still out of the question. The tree had lost some resin because of the cut inflicted by Matthias. It was lying at the foot of the cliff, giving me a small lift off the ground.
Sometimes, my obsession with using random items didn't lead anywhere.
It was lying at the foot of the cliff. In the middle of the moss, a small hole stood out that seemed to stretch deep inside the rock. Once, when I was a kid, I slipped my head through the bars of a gate. When I decided to back out, my ears got stuck, trapping me. The same thing happened with that tool. I'd never be able to pull it out of there. What I needed was some kind of lift. I always dreamed of making an actual grappling hook. The movement of the water was hypnotic. I had read that in areas around waterfalls, the clothes stick in the stone,
and whoever was able to extract it would become the king of San Leo.
Let's not kid ourselves. They'd have to scoop me up with a teaspoon. That way I could reach the rocky outcrop, bypass it, and get to the opposite plateau. Why wasn't my brain able to come up with a plan that didn't account for the possibility of splattering on the ground like a tomato? The grappling hook seemed to have found a perfect grip. Maybe things were starting to turn the right way. No, absolutely not. Wrong way. Completely wrong. One last effort. Only in that moment did I notice a change in my body. I just crossed a ravine and climbed a steep, rugged wall, yet I felt healthy. Is it possible that the doctor's gas produced such a result in me? Or was I just being manipulated again, diluted by a placebo effect? I'd risked a very dramatic death once more, but the bag was finally mine. Of course. An immense trek down awaited me. I remained speechless. The bag had fallen prey to a rapacious pointed beak belonging to a mean face that boded no good. I panicked. As far as having to climb a steep wall and throwing myself into the void, I could still handle things alone. But I didn't know anything about wild animals. Nowak. That's a Polish surname, right?
What are you? An expert on foreign languages?
No, but I've met many people during my investigations. I don't know why, but I always believed my travel would take me to Warsaw someday.
You wouldn't last a second in my country. There are true men there, not little dillweeds like you.
About the beast.
I didn't find out anything more since our first encounter. The only certain clue I have is that gigantic print that I couldn't manage to identify. I even sent a scan to a friend of mine, the famous biologist who works at the University of Munich. He thinks I'm dealing with a hoax, a reproduction of a print from a prehistoric creature.
It appears to be one of those mythological sightings, like the Yeti or the Sasquatch. A strange problem arose. I'd almost recovered the bag when I was assaulted by a fierce winged animal.
A winged animal of what kind? Would you be able to describe it?
Let's see. It had a beak, some feathers.
Christus. I need more detailed information to be able to help you. Take this recognition form, go on site and fully compile it, then come back to me.
Can't you just give me something strong enough to knock it down?
The anesthetics you see on the table are bombs. They would kill it on the spot.
I don't want to hurt it.
Why are you yelling like that, you lunatic?
There's a mummy inside this niche.
What do you mean by mummy? That's my father.
Did you mummify your father?
I'll only tell you this once. That is not a mummy. For my father, the fight with the animal world was an ancient and noble art. He was very respectful of his prey, and had them mummified so that their memory would survive.
I think they'd have preferred to just survive. That mummy had been a great hunter in his life, a real lover of nature. Did you get your passion for exploring the woods from your father?
No, he was indifferent to the fascination of flora. Flowers and plants irritated him.
Tekla,
He thundered from the top of his 6'4" frame.
if I should tragically die before you, don't you dare bring flowers to my grave. Otherwise, so help me God, when we meet again, I'll plant them right up your...
What an exquisite person. I have other things to do now.
Good. Now get out of my hair.
I had to submit the results to Tekla.
All right, cretin. If you correctly identify the species with the liquid contained in here, you'd be able to ward it off. Throw the ampoule a reasonable distance from the bird and wait until it can smell the odor.
Fingers crossed. According to Tekla, I strongly hoped I'd guessed the species right, and prepared myself to throw another of my curveballs. The bird threw me a nasty look that froze the blood in my veins, but apart from that, nothing. I had to carefully observe the animal to memorize its features. Let's try again. Fingers crossed. I strongly hoped. I'll recover the piece of the scroll once I return the bag to Tekla. Look what I have here for you.
It's about time. Put it next to the fireplace.
And here's one of the scroll pieces retrieved.
Not that this makes you less of a wuss.
And the first piece of the scroll was mine. There were still 2 left. I'd recovered the first piece of the scroll. About the scrolls.
Good fences make for good neighbors. You and Oliviero should take care of the scrolls. I'll deal with the beast.
But if you could just...
I'm about to bring out the cutlass from earlier, Cretin.
All right, I'll manage. I have other things to do now.
Good. Now get out of my hair.